Well, let's get
So,
started, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the number one most valuable real estate community in existence. Today we got Mr. Bob Saadai, the man, the myth, the legend, bringing on his underwriting team, Mr. Hertle and Mr. Slover. Excited to be in proximity with you all for today on Deal or No Deal.
yeah, thank you. Thank you for having us. And I'm very happy and proud to have my underwriters here with me. Simon has been with us for about a year now, I think. And Adam joined us about 2, maybe 3 months ago. They work on different projects. So in our company, we have different divisions as far as acquisitions is concerned. We have on-market and off-market properties coming to us, and so we have to underwrite a lot. Simon handles the on-market, and Adam handles the off-market properties that come to us, and so they get a lot of practice. And so we decided, hey, why don't we just share the wealth with everybody and show what we do, how we do things. And Simon Slow Flip, that's him. That's him. Um, and so we decided to, help anybody we could, as always. So we're here for you people, and we're here to serve you and show you how you should be looking at properties, or at least how we look at properties. I'm not saying that this is the way, this is the only way, this is the right way. I know John may look at deals differently. I know Matt definitely looks at deals differently. So it all depends on your exit strategy, really. And there are several different exit strategies that you can look at, and that's what we do as well. Um, but the one thing that we try to keep um, in mind at all times when we're looking at deals, John and everybody else, is we like to stick with our strengths. Okay. So if we're not good at a particular exit strategy, or if we're not good at a particular type of property, we're not going to waste time. Okay. We'd rather concentrate on being specialized in specific types of properties or specific types of deals, exit strategies. So that's how we look at it. And so I'm sure there are going to be people who may bring their leads to us, and we're just going to go, sorry, we can't help you on this. Okay, just because for example, we may not deal with 100-unit multifamilies, just as an example. Okay, we may not deal with commercial, so we're not going to underwrite. We're not going to spend time on it. But in general, our bread and butter is, well, why don't I let Simon and Adam explain a little bit? I keep I have a tendency to talk over and over, so I don't want to take over the entire show. Simon and Adam, why don't you guys join in and tell us what kind of deals do you guys normally work on?
I guess I'll go first. So I mean, for me, since I'm on anything that's on market and agent outreach, it is usually pretty straightforward, mostly creative side. I do underwrite some cash deals, but majority is just a creative seller financing or subject to. Subject to is the majority low equity.
Mm-hmm. And what type of deals? What type of properties do we normally look at?
For me, I look mostly at properties that are in really good condition, so doesn't need a lot of like rehab, rent ready for most of the cases. I mean, most of the properties I've been underwriting is recent builds, low interest rates, that kind of stuff.
Cool. What about you, Adam?
Hey, that's me.
That is you.
I mean, I'm not too different, I guess, on the what kind of properties. I think
Mhm.
I'm more focused on what exit strategies to see what we can do with the properties. Like if something's good for only a pad split, then it limits who we can show it to. So we might pass on something like that
Mhm.
unless there might be a month where we just meet 200 pad split buyers, so we start looking at pad splits more often.
There you go. So we go with what our buyers are looking for.
Right.
Exactly. And let me back up. What qualifies you guys to even underwrite? I mean, why should people or our team come to Simon and Adam and say, "Hey, help us out. Can you underwrite this for us?"
Great question.
Do you have an answer?
I think so.
Go for it.
I'm trying to see if it sounds sufficient in my own head, but regardless, I guess I took the a top tier underwriting course for sub 2, and I just used that and joined a couple wholesaling teams and got some experience that way.
Mm-hmm. So Adam's being a little coy. Um, the course that he's talking about is in sub 2, and it's kind of sort of intensive. I mean, it's they teach you underwriting not just for single families, but also multifamilies as well as commercial, I believe. So Adam is very well experienced in all that, and then having joined a couple of other wholesaling companies before joining us, he's had a lot of experience as far as what types of properties to look for, what exactly to look for in a deal. So he's got a lot of experience in that sense. And Simon, what about you?
Well, I haven't done any certification from top tier or anything.
Right.
I learned mostly just from doing it, just from doing it and
Exactly.
looking at least 1,000 leads or something. I don't know. I haven't kept
Oh,
count.
I'm sure it's a lot more. With the number of offers that we submit, I'm sure it's a lot more than 1,000 now. So, yeah, I mean, Simon basically sharpened his skills by just continuously repeating and doing and doing and doing and doing. Just like any other skill, it's a matter of training yourself. It's a matter of learning, okay, keeping an eye out. And both these gentlemen are very detail oriented, so they look at a lot of different aspects of a lead that comes in, and they look at different possibilities. So that's their qualifications. Me, I'm just the pretty one in the middle. So I get to have all the fun while they do all the work. So there we go. That's the intro to my team, my underwriting team. And I would love to have people bring us leads so that we can show you how we can share our screen and we can show you how we will underwrite deals. I know, John, you had mentioned that you have one that you were interested in showing as well, everybody. We'd be more than happy to do yours as well. And
Absolutely.
we also have a few of ours too, in case nobody has their own that we can, just some of the leads that just recently came by, we can pop them up and show you what we do.
Well, I'd love
So,
to share with you what this lady has brought to the table. I think I've got an
okay.
idea on kind of what approach we'd probably need to take, given the circumstances. Though I can, provide all of the lead info in terms of, her debt, her interest rate, mortgage
Oh,
payoffs, that kind of stuff, and then we can kind of walk through it if you like.
absolutely. Why don't we start off with yours?
Okay.
Um, what would be the best way of doing this? Do you think sharing the information, or I don't know how much of the information you want to share, um, or DMing me or one of the guys here? Either way, whatever works for you.
Yeah, I'm fine to share the info. We can hop into the financials and everything here.
Cool.
So she sent me two things. She sent a payoff request, and this is apparently from HUD. So this is something that I'm kind of seeing. I'm unaware that HUD gives you has some sort of like lien on the property. I'm not sure what exactly this is for. She didn't really explain why she had this lien, but she's claiming that she has this lien, and I'll drop the total payoff amount for that lien in the side chat here, and the payoff statement with her mortgage information and that kind of stuff, so that we can all see what all this looks like, if that can help you guys.
Well, let me ask Simon and Adam. In general, what do you guys look for, or what do you need to be able to underwrite a deal?
That's a good question. Eventually, I like to have everything, but I guess I start with the address and then just as much information as I can get, and a lot of 90% of the time, I think it'll be like a pass when something comes across. Like maybe it's in the middle of a cornfield, in the middle of nowhere. We'll just be like, oh, we can't do much with that. A lot of times we don't need to have everything right up front, but there are definitely certain things that we'll look at first, because it'll always be a pass if it's that situation.
So, for the sake of this live stream, Adam, let's take out the fact that, if it's in a rural area or if we look it up, because what Adam is referring to, ladies and gentlemen, is the fact that anytime they are going to underwrite a lead and it's not in a metropolitan area, or it's a city that we've never heard of, first thing they do is they contact me and my dispo team, and they go, hey, do we even have any buyers in that area? Because again, we don't want to waste our time by going after a property that, even if we get it under contract, even if we get a sweet deal out of it, we're not going to be able to dispo. So the first step is always, do we have any buyers? So if we get a property in Atlanta, for example, okay, we're going to underwrite it, because ultimately we are going to probably find a buyer for it. Okay, the chances are higher. But if we get one in Smartsville, California, okay, we're going to probably pass on it. So it all depends. Okay,
Well,
so
lucky
that's
for you,
why.
Bob, this lead that I'll be posting is in Atlanta.
Woo! There you
Nice.
go. All right, so let's bypass, guys, the fact that it could be, just because I just want to show these people how we underwrite first. Okay, and then after that, then we can set our parameters of, okay, nothing rural, nothing less than 20, 30,000 population, et cetera, et cetera. Okay.
Gotcha.
So there's the information on the chat. Do you see that, Adam?
I do.
From John. Okay, cool. You want to share your screen and show everybody what you do?
Excuse me, me or Simon?
Whoever's going to underwrite it. Doesn't matter. Why don't we take turns? You want to go first and then Simon can go next?
If I can find the button. Yeah.
So that's an FHA with 7.5% interest rate. So not really interesting for a
Holy
creative
moly.
deal.
So
Definitely not creative.
Simon, why don't you explain what that meant? Because we have, seasoned and we have newbies in here.
Okay. So basically, we're looking at the loan, and I mean, a 7.5% interest rate is definitely not a favorable interest rate.
Why?
Well, I mean, a 7.5% interest rate will be really hard to find something that's cash flowing. I mean, depending if the house is way more worth and it's pretty paid down, but it's a first indication that it might be tricky for a creative deal in a subject to situation where we take over the existing finance.
Exactly. So the main reason is, if we're going to do a creative, okay, right now rates are at about what, 5.5 to 6.5%. So if we're going to take over, we want to take over something that's less than the current mortgage rates are. Okay, and because that's the advantage to our buyers, right? They're taking over a loan that has an interest that is less than the current market's rates. But this one is a good 1% plus over current market rates. So it's at a disadvantage. I mean, someone's got to be really in desperate need of wanting a house and can't qualify for it. So maybe a lease option could work. Okay, maybe a wrap could work. But again, it's really high up there. Okay, so that's the first indication that, hey, we got to be careful of this. Now, what's interesting on this one, it says that the origination date was back in 2016, and the maturity date is 2064. Okay, so
I was just looking at that. That's a weird amortization.
yeah. So that's a good like 48 years amortization. Hey, John, do you know if this loan is with a hard money lender, with a private money lender, with an actual traditional lender? Are you aware of that?
So these are great questions, Bob, and ladies and gentlemen, especially if you're new, please take notes on the types of questions that Bob and his team are asking to help wrap their head around the situation for the seller. So I'm under the understanding that this is a FHA loan from like a traditional lender. So this is not like
Oh,
a
that's right.
hard money loan. And so their mortgage lender is like Midway Mortgage. I believe that's the name of the company.
Okay. So you're right. It is an FHA, and normally, not normally, I haven't seen any hard money or private money lenders giving out FHA because they aren't allowed. So it's got to be a conventional or traditional lender that's giving out this, that's being backed by the government, hence FHA. Okay. So something happened because normally FHA loans are 30-year fixed. Okay. In general. Is it always? No. But in general, that's what they are. So it looks like if its maturity date is 7/1/2064, it just recently got either refinanced or financed for the first time. So take it away, guys.
I mean, this one's really weird, though. It says the original loan balance is less than what its current balance is.
So
have they
how
like
could that
never made a
happen?
payment, or they got another loan on it?
It's possible, or it could be in a pre-foreclosure situation where they've fallen behind and, well, no, you're right. It
It's
is
still
the
hard to imagine.
principal. Yeah, it's the principal that's increased. So we have no information on that. Is that right, John?
Well, this is a situation where the seller did refinance. They are falling behind on their payments, so they're about to be hit with pre-foreclosure. Um,
Okay.
so that's where we're at.
Okay.
Did they give any hint to why they refinanced or what they got out of the refinance?
I mean, they saved themselves from pre-foreclosure or from a foreclosure, but I
Oh.
think to sum it up, they traded, putting whatever arrears they had on the back end of their loan and an increased interest rate. So they kind of got the short end of the stick there, I think. So I think I have a potential solution or at least suggestion. So I don't want to throw it out there just yet. I kind of want to see how you guys walk through it, and then maybe we see if we arrive to the same conclusion.
Gotcha.
Okay.
I just asked because I definitely have seen it before where someone will refinance the house, like get a cash refi, just put all that in their pocket, and then just go right back into foreclosure and walk away from the house.
Yeah, I
So-
think in this situation, she has a family, so she's trying to get some sort of compensation out of this deal, at least for her to go back to renting from somewhere else. So she's trying to save her credit. She doesn't want to have that pre foreclosure on her record, or that foreclosure on her record.
I want to know what Simon's thinking.
Well, I'm looking at it. So she got listed for 175,000. So even after like all the costs associated with the sale. I mean, how is she able to get? I mean, she's not able to get like the 163,500 whatever she owes. If I'm correct, so you posted the payoff statement, and the second image you posted is an additional lien of the 29,669, right?
Correct. So she's upside down on her mortgage right now,
Yeah.
or at least on her debt, like what she owes.
What does that mean, upside down?
That means that she owes more than what the house is currently worth.
John?
Can you hear me?
There we go. Yeah.
Yeah. It means that she owes more than the house is currently worth.
Okay. So if the loan is more than the value of the house, what solutions are there?
I have a couple.
Well,
Would you like me to share them? Or I mean, I could wait.
No, let's hear it. This is good. I like this.
So the first thing that came to my mind was, is there a way that we could potentially, put a few $1,000s in the seller's pocket, right? Because we want to help people. That's why we do this business. But like Simon and Adam pointed out, because they're upside down, it doesn't look like they would be able to walk away with anything, even if they, sold it to a homeowner who'd be the person, to pay the most for it. It has been on the market and it was sitting for 175 for about a month. I spoke to the wholesaler that had it under contract before they canceled to hear what the feedback was, and they said that because the seller wasn't as forthcoming about the condition of the property, they got a lot of lower offers, and unfortunately there was just no way that the seller could net anything. So that kind of took even breaking even off the table, or even a slight loss off the table, because there were just no offers from the market being exposed, to the MLS. And so that leaves me with two options. I think that, like Jakai is saying, either a loan modification, meaning the interest rate. Okay, so why we can't pick up that interest rate right now is because, like Bob said, it's higher than what somebody could go and get qualified for today, right? Somebody could go to a lender or a mortgage company, and they could go get a loan at what percent interest? Does anybody know? Can we get somebody to put in the side chat? Does anybody know what the current interest rate is? We got about 50 people in here. I want to get everybody engaged. We want to make sure people are paying attention here. I'm seeing Tanner saying 7.3, Morgan's like 6, Andy saying 6.5. Bob, what have you been seeing? Have you seen any reports from anyone about current mortgage rates?
So,
somewhere around 6?
yeah, mortgage rates are dependent on your credit score and your ability to pay. So income, several different factors. I have them at 5.5, anywhere between 5.25 to 6.25, 6.5 right now.
Okay.
So it all depends. So let's just say 6%.
So assuming that, on an average 6%, we can assume and we can see that the current rate that seller has is significantly higher than what somebody could go and get approved for from a lender today. And so it wouldn't make sense, for us to take over the payments on that loan, because that loan doesn't really help us in any way. They don't really have much equity. They're underwater. You can't pull anything out of that loan, and then it's a higher interest rate than what the market would, or what we could go and get a loan for from a lender, with okay credit. So that doesn't make sense. Now, the only other option besides that loan modification that came to mind was potentially a short sale.
There you go. Okay.
Yep.
So I know that you
So
guys deal with the short sales a lot. Can you tell us about what that means and kind of what that process looks like?
yeah, of course. So a short sale is basically, like John explained, when the liens on the house are greater than the actual value of the property itself, then it's upside down. And it's during those situations where you want to communicate with a lender, explain to them that, hey, this asset that you have as collateral based on the loan that you've lent this borrower is no longer above water. So we are willing to purchase it, but you're going to basically take a hit on this. Now, obviously, no lender wants to take a hit, or if they have to take a hit, they want to take a hit as little as possible, right? So that's where the communications begin. And so we normally, you basically need to set up a short sale package and submit it to the lender. It's a long drawn process. Average is about 6 months. It can be anywhere between, I mean, the fastest one I've ever seen and done was 21 days, but that's extremely rare. On average, it's anywhere between 3 to 6 months. And the longest one I've done was 23 or 24 months. So they can drag out, you know?
Yeah. That's a
So
long
you
time.
have to, you have to make sure that it's worth it, you know? So, for example, we were going after a property in San Jose, California, and that one was upside down. Okay, there were a lot of things wrong with that particular property, but we figured that its ARV once it was beautifully fixed was about $1.9 million, and the loan on the property was about 1.4. And it did need some work. Okay, not a lot, but some work. But the major problem with it was that it was actually closed down by the county because the husband was doing meth in the garage. And so they shut it down completely. And we came in and we were going to submit an offer. We did submit an offer, a short sale offer. Remember, the payment, what was owed on the loan was 1.4, and we came in at $850,000 offer to them. So that means that the lender was going to lose approximately $550,000 on that one deal. Okay. But that's a short sale. Okay. They have the right to write it off and all this stuff. There are several different factors to a short sale, but in general, you go in low, and they want as much as possible close to what their loan value is, or I'm sorry, their loan amount is, and you try to negotiate and come somewhere in between, or hopefully more closer to your price. So that's what a short sale really is.
And Bob, how is it that a seller could benefit from a short sale? Can they walk away with anything? Is it possible to negotiate with the lender so that they don't walk away empty-handed?
Technically, no. The lender's perspective, you got to look at it from the lender's perspective. The lender thinks that if I'm going to lose 550,000 or even $1, okay, there's no way that the homeowner should be getting any money, should be making any money whatsoever. But in reality, there are ways around that, just like any other laws. Okay, there are ways around it. So one way is, for example, that we can quote unquote purchase the homeowner's personal belongings, like their furniture or whatever else they have in their car, for example. Okay, and what we do is we submit a bill of sale for their personal belongings through escrow, so that allows them to make money. Now, it's up to us whether we want to pick up that furniture or the car or whatever that we just bought, or we could just leave it and anybody could come and pick it up, which would normally be the homeowners, right? So there are ways around that. Another way is sometimes lenders will give some money to the homeowners for moving, okay? Because at the end of the day, if it doesn't go through and it's going to be a foreclosure, they want to make sure that the homeowners take out all their stuff, all their belongings, and don't leave the house trashed. Okay. So they will give some money as well for moving. But those are normally the two biggest ways. Obviously, the third way would be also you can pay out of escrow. I don't recommend that, but it is possible. You can do it.
So, in a situation like this, given the seller's circumstance, what would you suggest I tell her to do?
Yeah. In this particular case, I mean, you talked about a loan modification as well. If we do a loan modification, the first thing I want to see is, can they qualify for a loan modification? Do they make enough money to, and a loan modification is basically you're rearranging the loan. You are requalifying for a loan, okay? However, most of the times those loans are going to be with today's current rates, okay? Which in this case is better than the rate that's there right now, right? So a low mod might work, okay, but the chances are probably dependent on the homeowner's ability to make the payment. It's not up to us. In that situation, we would put it under contract as a subject to, do a loan modification, try to get whatever is owed, all the arrears to the back end of the loan, and take it with a better rate than a 7.5%, okay? And see what kind of monthly payments it would come out to be. Right now, it looks like, what's the monthly payments on this one? Do you know?
I've got to try to get that info. Let me pull it up.
So whatever it is, we want to see if the loan modification will make it less. And then we would purchase the property subject to, meaning that we would come in and we would basically be coming out of pocket with less of an entry fee, which is beneficial to us as investors, okay? Maybe even be able to put a little bit of money into the seller's pockets, okay? And take over a better loan than a 7.5% interest rate loan.
So
If not, then the short sale is the only way.
okay, so it looks like she's paying $1,235.39 per month.
1239. Okay, is that PITI or principal and interest only?
That's PITI.
Okay, that's reasonable in Atlanta. That's not bad. How many bedrooms and baths is this? See, now we're getting involved with the type of house it is, what kind of house it is, what options we have as far as like, exit strategies.
So this one is
So
a 3-bed, 2-bath house, 1,600 square feet.
not bad, and it's only 1239. With a 7.5% interest rate, it's 1239. Well, the loan amount is low, so that's probably why. Yeah, I mean, if we can get it lower than 1239, why not, right? Be able to rent it out, hopefully at a higher rate too. That could make sense as a subject to. Otherwise, it is a short sale, as far as I'm concerned. What do you guys think? Adam, Simon?
Well, depending if it actually could cash flow for like a long-term rental, it would be interesting to see like the numbers where we actually get into like the underwriting, what's the exit strategy. But I mean, just like from the few numbers we have, it definitely looks like a short sale.
Yeah. That's where I would be leaning to as well.
And so if the short sale is going to make the most sense for her, what benefits will the seller have by going down that route? Because it looks like her credit's going to get dinged and she wouldn't really be able to walk away with anything. How could I pitch her any sort of benefit to doing that versus just sitting in it and waiting for it to be foreclosed upon?
So her credit is going to be dinged, and there's also a possibility that the lender at the end of a short sale transaction could come back and send a 1099, to them as earned income for whatever the loss was. So for example, if they lost, let's say, $30,000 on this deal because of the short sale, they have the right to send a 1099 to the sellers, to the borrowers, for that $30,000. So now the borrowers have to take that as income that they've received, basically. Okay, and so it's not a great situation. Can it be done? Do banks do it? Yeah, they do, but not all the time. Okay, so that could also be part of the negotiations. I think someone mentioned it. You really need someone who's an expert in short sales to handle the negotiations, okay? Because every little bit of these points really matter a lot, okay? And if they're not aware of these things, then the seller is going to get hurt at the end, okay? And obviously, we want to make sure that we're taking care of the sellers as best as we possibly can. Does it hurt their credit? Yes, it does. Does it hurt their credit as bad as a bankruptcy or a foreclosure? Not even close. A short sale normally is on your credit report, and I'm not an attorney. I don't claim to be an attorney. My experience has been based on talking to credit repair companies and other attorneys that normally short sales are on your credit report for 2 to 3 years. Okay. Foreclosures are on for 7+ years. Okay, 7 to 10 years. Bankruptcies can be there for 7 years as well. So you're going to take a hit, but it's not even close to a bankruptcy or anything else. And there are ways of turning around your credit as quickly as possible if you're working with the right credit repair companies too. So these are some of the resources that we provide our clients, our sellers.
Fantastic. Well, I appreciate you all for taking a look at this one. The consensus, I guess, was I was thinking about maybe trying to do a loan modification, though, even if we were to modify the loan, I think just because it's already been on market and we know that it won't sell for 175, we can't really say that that's a great representation of the value of the property. So I think you're all right, and I appreciate you all giving me feedback on this one. And I think that the short sale is going to be the best option for the seller.
Do you have an idea what its ARV would be?
Um, just taking a quick glance on Zillow. I haven't done too much of a deep dive on this one because of the nature of it being that it was already listed and that kind of thing. I'm thinking maybe if it was fixed up, it could sell for like 200, 230.
Okay.
The other benefit of a short sale, also, in my opinion, is just because of the fact that it could take a long time, depending on the needs of the seller. Sometimes the sellers want to stay in their house as long as possible. Sometimes they're just having difficulty finding a new place and moving on. So with a short sale, you can drag that out as long as possible. And it also stops foreclosures. Okay, when a property is in the middle of negotiations as far as short sale is concerned, they won't foreclose on the property. Oh, we lost John.
Rip.
Sorry.
What would your thoughts be on? I want to say a novation, but you would definitely need to do more than just a normal novation.
So, okay, Adam is a sub 2 member, and so our novations might be a little bit different than what John and other people in this community are used to. So a novation in sub 2 normally is where you basically partner up with the owner, you fix it up, and then you put it back up on the market. The benefit to us is that we don't have to come out of pocket if we're fix and flipping it. We don't have to come out of pocket the initial purchase price. Okay, so we're basically just coming out of pocket the rehab costs and then closing costs at the end, and that's negotiable even. But with the way that John or others do novations, it's you're basically putting it under contract. You may or may not do some work while you have it under contract, but you're listing it right away. Even though you're not the owner, there's certain paperwork that you use to list it on the MLS, excuse me, and be able to find the end buyer for it. So when you say novation, Adam, which one are you talking about?
For this one, I guess it would more than likely be the just partnering with them.
Yeah.
It obviously isn't going to sell in its current condition, but if it was worth a little more, if you find someone that has a really good contractor that they can make it look nice without taking an arm and a leg to do it, which in Atlanta I feel should be possible.
So if she owes 162, somewhere around there, right?
Mhm.
And let's say it needs $20,000 of rehab work just to, get it up and running and be able to list it at a better price. John, what do you think the house could sell for? I'm sorry, I didn't hear what you said as far as the ARV is concerned.
Yeah, so I think that, after just taking a quick glance at Zillow, we're somewhere between 200 and maybe 230,000.
230? Okay.
Yeah.
So we would be in at about 180, 185 on it. Again, I don't know how much rehab work it needs. Have you seen pictures of the inside?
Yeah, I mean, the photos, I think they don't tell the full story. And so the wholesaler had explained that, it needs a lot more work than the seller
Oh,
kind of disclosed. And I'm guessing it
okay.
might be, some sort of like foundation or something like that that's
Mm,
going on.
That
yep.
would play a huge factor.
Yep, exactly. So I would say no to Novation on this one. Awesome.
Well, I appreciate you guys taking a look at this one, and I'm happy to bring on some more stuff. And if you all want to talk to the seller, and I'm happy to submit the lead to you, Bob, and your team. If you guys want to talk to the seller and present that offer to her, you guys are the experts on the short sale, so I'd be happy and feel comfortable, to allow you guys to talk to them and close that deal for me.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you. Um, Someone also mentioned, as far as giving a payment to the seller to just close on it, do a double close on it, basically. Do a short sale and double close on it. That way you can. There are some lenders that have rules in place where you are not allowed to sell the house for 30 days. Okay. And so that was because they wanted to stop this double close transactions, especially if you're wholesaling it or what have you. So you just have to make sure you're aware of all the regulations that that particular lender is bringing out. So just be careful of that. Can it be done? Yeah, I guess it can, but know the rules and policies of that particular lender first. All right. Who else has a lead or deal that they would love to see underwritten? Get a second pair of eyes on it. Or 3 or 4. Nobody else. Simon, you want to bring one of your leads and show us what you do?
Yeah, I'm not sure. Adam, do you have like a lead or something that's like a cash, or are we looking for something specifically that's subject to low equity?
No, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It could be either or.
Either or. Let's
Just
see if
grab
I
my
find.
most recent one.
Yeah, just grab the most recent one.
Morgan just said she has a vacant property that she's asked to dispo. If you want to look at that, otherwise, I have
Sure.
one.
Morgan, you want to jump on, and we'd be happy to look at your deal. There you
Hey,
go.
everybody.
Hey, how are you, Morgan?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
Good, good.
Good.
So explain to us what you got.
Yeah, okay. So it's actually I think it's a good opportunity for the right buyer. I'm just wondering what price I need to dispo it at. I mean, I don't mind putting it in the chat and whatever. I don't know how this is done this way, but so it's a vacant property and it's surrounded by residential homes. So it's excavated, it's above street level, it has water, it has sewer. It's like just like perfectly put in like a normal neighborhood with residentials all around it, except that vacant lot that you drive by you would not even realize is vacant. This one is. This one's vacant. And we got it under contract for 18. And whenever I was trying to do the comps, I mean, I'm seeing comps at 20, and then I'm seeing comps all the way up to like 84K. It's in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. And yeah, should I put the address in the chat? Because I'm not scared to do so, if you'd like.
Yes, please.
Okay. Sorry, I'm finding it. Of course, it's right there. Okay, there it is.
Okay. Either one of you guys, whoever wants to take it on.
Yeah, I'm all ears.
Okay, so this is the property, Winston-Salem, North Carolina. Okay.
Mhm.
And you have it under contract at 18, is that right?
Yes.
Okay. Is it free and clear, or are there any liens on the property?
As far as we know, right, verbally, I mean, it's still processing through title, but as far as we know, everything's free and clear.
This is
Verbally,
just a vacant lot, right? Just land.
yeah, just land, exactly. Pretty much prime and ready for a builder to just come and build on there. That's fine. I just don't know how to price it because it's not a home yet. It has all the grounds to be one. It was planned out by the developers to be one. It has the water and the sewer ready to go. So yeah, this is my first time kind of working with the vacant lot wholesaling wise. So I'm not sure how to pitch it to my possible buyers on the price gauge.
My first concern looking at it, it looks like it kind of dips down and just makes like a little valley there. I'm not sure if someone
Right.
hasn't built there because it just gets a little too close to a flood zone, maybe.
Okay.
Can you explain that a little bit, Adam? Why is that a concern?
Makes it a bit more expensive to build on, especially if you're going to be that close to the ocean,
Mm.
because you're going to get a little bit of water eventually.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they do put drains and sewers installed in the streets as well for that reason too. And that would be my rebuttal.
Oh no, I don't disagree at all. It's one of the things that will keep people from wanting to do it simply because they can just get land somewhere else and not have that risk.
Agreed. No, that totally does make sense to why it hasn't happened yet. Right.
Correct.
I
But
forgot
if
to
it's
mention
not,
what. Yep. Sorry. Go ahead.
if it's not, I guess I would want to see what the home value is for that street, see what everything's kind of worth there.
Okay.
So
Let's get a whole.
I'm sorry, everyone. I forgot to let everybody know one of the things that our team does in general is we tend to train them to say more to say more no than yes. Okay, we're looking for reasons to get out of a deal than to get into a deal. Okay, the reason for that is because we don't want to go in hoping that everything that comes our way is going to be a deal and we're going to make lots of money on it and then it's going to break our heart and what have you. So we want to make sure that we are conservative with our numbers, with the way we do things, and that we get deals under contract where we are confident that we can dispo. Okay. Or if we're going to hold on to it and fix and flip it, we're going to make a nice profit on it. So saying no is really good in this case, especially with underwriting.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's
absolutely.
why when Adam or Simon say, well, my concern is that's where that's coming from.
And I appreciate that because that's the realist of the industry. Yes, I appreciate it. That's why I came up here.
Yep. We're glad that you came up. Any more information that you can give Adam or Simon so that they can, see how much further they can go with it?
I mean, I'm not an expert in underwriting vacant land, but I'm just like basically looking at some of the properties around it, and it seems like the average home value should be around 230, 250 maybe.
Okay.
Does that help,
Will
Morgan?
that help? It
I
does
I
help. It
think
does help.
I think for builders, if I remember correctly, if you sell buildable lots, it is like a quarter of basically what the home price is, or something like that. I'm not an expert, so I'm not sure
I can go.
if Adam knows.
Yeah, maybe Adam does. Maybe Adam does.
Malik brought up a
I-
great point. Have you called the city to see if it's buildable?
So it is an RS zone.
Okay. What does
Yeah,
that
so it's
mean, Morgan? Just for people who aren't aware of what RS means.
sure. So that's actually it does run under commercial, oddly enough. But it does mean that ideally the developers were thinking. I'm thinking a part of the property is a bit commercial. So RS is where you have an opportunity to go further than just a residential zone for just like, hold on, I don't know exactly how to explain this, but I do know that there's opportunity. I think the reason why it's RS is because of that lamp and that pole. And there's a city what do you call them? The street light. There's a city street light right kind of like very front of where the lot is, and I think that's why they put it in RS, is so they could go ahead and plant that lamp or the city light there. So that's what it means. It means residential zone. It means a house can be built on it. It's approved by the city to do so.
Yeah. Okay. So does that answer your question, Morgan?
It does. It actually does. It actually does. Because now I have a formulation. Now I have an equation that I can base myself off of. I didn't even think of the market that's already surrounded by it. Like that's obvious, but it's not obvious when you don't have a bunch of extra eyeballs on it. So thank you guys.
Yeah, I
You
think
got
the
it.
simplest way I would do it is make sure it's buildable, find out what developers are in the area, in the city, and I would just call them up,
Morgan,
spend an hour, maybe two, talking to developers, and be like, if I had a lot for you to build on, what would you want it at percentage wise?
Mm.
And then you find that ARV for that, what could go there, and then offer it to them.
So what price do you have it on a contract?
It's under contract for 18. Now like I said, I was handed this. It was a handing over of a contract. They already had the number, they already had the contract, so they were just asking me to help dispo. But I was thinking for further reference, I know leads aren't always as we want them. It's not a lollipop world in real estate, right? It does you have to be a lot like more realistic speaking. And I'm not that keen with vacant lots and how they run and what the value for them and how to do that equation is. So I told him I would do my best, but yeah. So that's just where I'm at. I was just wondering what you guys thought about it.
Morgan, you could go on Redfin and put in the zip code and the sale to see if what the lots are going, your size lot, right?
Right.
You also want to call the city as they told you, because you want to make sure that the lot is buildable, and the city is able to tell you that. Okay.
What that mean?
You also want to see. There go big play. Also, you're probably going to want to check if it's a wetlands or anything like that.
Come on, Diego. I want to see it. Show us. John wants to see it too. Share your screen and show us what you mean.
Okay. My computer is a little slow here, so bear with me.
I mean,
okay.
I'm looking at Zillow right now, and in the last year, something really close by sold for like 12,000, and it's also like almost like a third of an acre lot.
Yeah, because that's another thing I also realized too is although excavated, we wouldn't be able to calculate what the timber, like if somebody wanted like something that is unexcavated, right? Just a free bird lot, I guess I would call it in my own terms. With trees and everything, that timber is worth value in itself. So something that's already excavated, I get it. I
have another little shortcut.
Sure.
Is anyone sharing screen yet? No. Okay. Property summary.
No,
Did
I
that
can't.
work?
My computer's slow. It's gonna.
Can you see this? What kind of dog you got, Diego?
It's just.
I got a pity.
Ooh.
It sounds cuddly.
I had an old English bulldog when I was growing up, so I'm a bulldog lover too.
Nice.
Yeah.
So what are you showing us, Adam?
This is straight from the county. This is what they say the land is worth.
Okay.
Are those normally accurate?
From what I've seen, yes. It's never far off. It's not going to be double that. Yeah, it's not going to be double that or half that. It's usually in the ballpark. Because this is coming straight from the county assessor. They say what everything is worth around there for tax purposes. So if it's worth more than that, they'll probably say it is so they get more money tax wise.
Right. Got it. Sometimes just going with the good old school county websites is just where it's at, huh?
And hopefully you find a county that makes it simple, because some of them definitely don't.
You're right. Absolutely.
This one did.
Yes, I see that. All right.
Malik seems to be an expert in Winston-Salem. He's in North Carolina. He's giving you some great advice here. Winston-Salem is actually hard to build because the city isn't easy to work with. You have to be at tax assessed value in Winston. No one is really building out there. So before putting it on a contract, I'd do what Adam said and go find your buyers first.
Yes, thank you, Malik, for that. Thank you.
Yeah, Malik, if you want to jump up on stage and give more advice, we'd love to hear it.
There he is.
Hey, Malik.
Hey guys, how's it going? Hey. Yeah,
Thanks for joining us, man.
Winston-Salem. Yeah, nobody's really building in Winston-Salem, so you really got to be at tax assessed value. Well, technically, you got to be at half of tax assessed value if you want to sell it to somebody. It is just really hard to get somebody to build something in Winston-Salem because the city is a pain to deal with. But some cities that are good for lots is Gastonia. I mean, Gastonia is coming up like really good. That's a really, I wouldn't say it's an untapped market, but that's a market to get your feet wet in. It's only like 30 minutes outside of Charlotte. That's a good city for lots. Rock Hill, South Carolina is a good city for lots. You got Statesville, that's in North Carolina. But yeah, Winston-Salem, High Point, even Greensboro is it's going to be hard to find a buyer for lots in those cities.
Love it. Love it.
So from what you're saying, Malik, if she wants to move forward with this deal in Winston-Salem, and tax assessed value was at 21.6, I think, she will probably be able to sell it for like what, 10.8, somewhere around there, which means that she needs to buy it at less than 10.8 to make a profit on it herself.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I was trying to sell 2 lots in Winston a while back. They were wooded, they weren't cleared, and I couldn't find anybody to pick them up, and they were less than 30,000. And I mean, they had everything. They had city water, sewer, they had utilities at the street, but nobody wanted them just because Winston's a pain to deal with.
Yeah, that actually goes right along with people that I had already called previously to this live. They are fixer and flippers, but I just thought, hey, here it is.
Yeah, but I mean, lots are actually really good. I wholesaled a lot in Rock Hill, South Carolina. That was a pretty good lot. So I mean, lots are good, but just I don't think this one is a from the looks of the picture, it doesn't even look like something can be built on it. Just the way the lot is shaped. But I could be wrong. But
no, I'm with you. I'm feeling the same vibe. I do have a great question for you. So Rock Hill, South Carolina. So South Carolina on Google and everywhere else is saying that the wholesaling thing's like a no-go. So is that what you would do, like a double close for like even the lot?
So right now I'm using Harry Marsh. He owns 24-hour closing. So he's still doing traditional assignment. I did a deal, I think it's 623 North Jones Avenue, a 1 acre vacant lot. I think I made 9,000 off of it. It was a regular assignment. So if you go to Harry Marsh at 24-hour closing, he's still doing regular assignments.
Harry's like HARRYS, because I actually have a lead there. It wasn't a vacant lot, but it was a new build. So yeah, I can see leads coming from there. You said it's Harry's HARRYS.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and put it in the chat to make it easier.
Yeah, thank you. The chat is there, isn't it? Thank you, Bob. I appreciate that.
You got it.
They actually got they have a rush title fee. It's only $350 at closing, and you can get title back in three days. So if you got a smoking deal, you can get the deals closed out pretty quick.
Awesome. Perfect. Yeah, that's great. Because Rock Hill is popping, isn't it?
Cool.
Well, I don't want to take up too much time. I mean, everyone should take advantage because I appreciate every single word everybody said. Really. Thank you guys.
You got it. Thanks for joining us.
Yes. And I'll be in the chat.
Sounds good. And there's Malik's affiliate link for Harry Marsh. So please let him make a few bucks off of you. I'm kidding. Big Play J. What's going on, buddy? What you got?
What's going on, Bob? What's going on? How's everything going?
Good, man. Been a while since I talked to you.
Yeah, it's been some time. And then another thing for Morgan, what she could do also, just to piggyback on everything, I would reach out to local agents that have sold lots in the area. They might be able to have a buyer.
There you go.
Who has done the deal in that area. So that'll be another thing for her. But for me, I sent you the property in your DM direct message.
Yep.
This one is in Atlanta, and it's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, or 2.5. Like I said, I'm just getting into the house space from the land side, so I'm having a little trouble finding what this ARV would be. I actually was able to get the property walked today. Imani was able to help me out and go look at the property, so We actually trying to see what we can come up with in JV on this one. So I think
Nice.
we do have a deal here because the seller is he's an experienced investor, and basically he was like he's not trying to waste any time. He literally just wants to get this done. He's 60 years old, so his motivation that he's been in the game, but he doesn't like dealing with wholesalers and everything. So he even said he doesn't want an assignable contract, which I think if we get it at the right price, I mean that won't be an issue. We can still double close. But I was like I said, I was having some issues trying to figure out exactly what the ARV would be on this one.
Okay, so you want us to comp it then for you? No problem.
Yeah, and then I can also kind of give you a backdrop as far as what repairs would be needed, if that helps.
Sure. All of that information helps.
Yeah, so it absolutely needs siding. Definitely would need a kitchen and bath update. The exterior, interior will need painting. The roof, most likely, I believe it's original. The seller kind of didn't go into detail about it. So and then obviously in the driveway area is like basically cracked up. So it probably will need to be repaved. But other than that, it's like mostly a cosmetic. The flooring too is tile flooring in the house, but it's not as bad. But other than that, it would just need like a light type of cosmetic, almost type of rehab.
So, what would you estimate the rehab cost to be for Stone Mountain?
I would say right now, just based off everything, somewhere between 40 and 50K.
Okay. So let's go 50K just to be on the safe side.
Okay.
Simon, you wanna comp this and see what the ARV you come up with?
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. I'm just trying to like share.
What? Yeah, there
my
you go.
screen.
That's what I was gonna say. Share your screen so everybody can see.
How do I share my screen? Let's see if it works. I think you can see it. So basically, I mean, I was looking at this already. I don't know. I mean, I'll just like use the tools I use instead of the free tools right now. But I mean,
What is that tool that you're using right now? Are you
that's
on the MLS?
That's RPR, yeah.
RPR, okay.
Yeah, I mean, I just like to look in RPR real quick and basically see the data. I mean, I always like look first at the data to like confirm whatever like those sites sometimes have different values. And what I do, I usually look at the AVM or RVM. That's like the value that RPR comes up. But so this is like just for me an indication. It's similar, something you could also do on Zillow, just like the Sestimate, or take a different source like Realtor.com, where you can go down here and get like a table. So basically in here 264, and usually I think Adam has actually in his deal analyzer a way of like typing in those numbers, and it spits you out like an average, just to get like a basic idea of where we are.
Wait, before you scroll up, can
Yep,
you go back
yep.
down? So, ladies and gentlemen, you know how everybody was teaching, and I learned this from Brent Daniels as well a few years ago. When it was hot, you just go, okay, let's get the Zestimate from Zillow, get whatever Realtor.com and Redfin say, take the average of those three, and that's a ballpark figure of what your ARV should be close to. Okay. Today's world, this is where we're looking at. Realtor.com. Okay. These three right here that Simon is showing on his screen, that's what we're looking at instead of those three. Okay. We're finding that these are much closer, much better.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, I still like to like use those values, the different
Sure.
valuations it has, and take an average,
Absolutely.
just to get an idea, basically, yeah.
Yeah.
And well, I mean, I'm just gonna use Privy. So Privy, let's see. It looks like Privy. I mean, I'm just looking at the data. Basically, it's a 2-story. It's 1,500 square feet, 87. lot size, and Privy makes it pretty easy if you look at the comparables. I mean, I think Privy is pretty much on standard when it comes like to the appraisal standard. I'm not sure. I've seen a few videos. So basically, if you reset your comps, it already comes up with comps that are within the half-mile radius. Basically, it has like so here's the distance and also like the square footage, basically bed baths and whatever is like the year it was built. So that makes it easy because you don't have to like go in Zillow and set all the filters for like year build. I think it also just looks back a certain time frame, so you're not going back, I don't know how many years, 2 years or something, whatever. When I look at comps in Privy, basically what I do is first I sort sold and everything from last year. I'm not gonna look at it, except if it's really like just like a handful of comps and I can't find any comps, then I might look at it just as an indication. Okay, let's see. Let's see. So this is probably, there's no photos. No. So in here, I mean, so I'm just looking at Zillow right now because there's no photos on Privy, and I would assume those photos are from the last time this got listed for rent. But you said it needs 50,000 in repairs.
Yeah.
Okay. So basically, I'm just looking through like the photos to see what's the building standard. So I'm comparing apples and apples. Okay. Back to my comps. Okay, that's from February. Let's just see. Okay. I mean, if I just look at the prices, I'll guess the 265 is our AOV, but let's see. That's 240. Sold in January. Okay. So this looks pretty rent ready. So that's sold for what was it, 240? That's sold for 240. This one is on the same street, 265. So it's the. Oh yeah. So I'm just quickly going like through the first comps I find here. This one has no good photos on here. Let's double check. Okay, that definitely was a fix and flip. Yep. Okay, so comping wise, I would say, I mean, this one would ideally be a better comp because that's sold recently.
Mm-hmm.
But let's see if there's photos. There's actually photos. Yeah, let's see. Kitchen is definitely more dated than the other properties we looked at. Let's see. Yeah, also bath. And carpet, as on this one, definitely needs new carpets. Okay, let's see. Yep, so looking at those comps, I mean, real quick, with those comps, they're not the best because like most of them are like from the beginning of the year. But I would say we're like 250, 260 for an AV.
Okay, 250. Yeah, I was thinking, around the same 250, 260. Now, my thing is, at what point would you know whether this might be a question for John too? At what point do you decide whether or not you should go novation or just cash offer?
I would always start cash.
Okay.
Well, but
I think
when is
John.
it something for like innovation?
Right.
I think
Yeah.
John
I mean,
John, if I'm correct, John does like innovation that light repair or maybe just like cleaned up and not like something that's like needs a lot of like repairs.
Yeah, what we call an innovation light. So,
Innovation light.
I mean, I think even John agrees that you always start off with cash, no matter what. I mean, we do a lot of creative stuff, but we always start with cash. Okay, you just have to, because you want to. Number one, you want to set the anchor. Number two, if you can get a good price on cash, it's a lot faster and easier.
mhm.
So you always start off with cash, and if it doesn't work, then you go to other options.
Right.
Yeah, I
Okay.
absolutely
Okay.
agree with what Bob said about the anchor, and something else is that I've kind of been looking at too is like temperature checking these people. You know, what really is, you know, that lower offer that they would accept. You know, what could they actually realistically visualize themselves walking away with, and trying to get as close, you know, to that number as possible. But I'll tell you right now, if it's not like a rental or, you know, some land that I want to pick up and hold, because I've got two that I'm going to be closing on um, this month, I'm putting everything under the novation paperwork because it's such a simple process. The only additional question that I ask to get these people to allow me to market the property is, you don't mind if I market the property, do you?
Good question.
And that question discloses that I will market the property once we go through the paperwork and we get to that spot, you know, where they're going to sign the attorney in fact. Oh yeah, this is just going to give me permission to market the property. Like, I think that for us, because we're on the other side of the fence and we see what the process looks like, and, you know, how much upside potential we have when we negotiate these deals, we start to overthink ourselves in our process and, like, oh well, like, should people be allowing us to market their properties this way? But the reality is, if people want just the convenience, right? They want to know what they're getting, they don't want to make any repairs, and they don't care what you do with that property, so long as they know what they're getting, it's clear to them, and they know roughly when they're going to close. Like, the rest, you do whatever it is you want to do. They don't care. You know, sometimes these people are telling me they don't want to work with an agent. I'll ask them, well, why is it that you don't want to work with an agent? Well, I don't want to pay commissions and closing costs, and they just feel overwhelmed by it. It's too much for them, right? They just want, I'm gonna get this number. I'm okay with this number, and I just want to move forward. All right. They don't want to know about anything else. They don't want to go to the closing table and look at the fees and the closing costs and all of this. Negotiate. That's another thing we do, ladies and gentlemen, is like, we're really on the phone negotiating in really the position of the seller, but the advantage that we have is because we have just so much more experience negotiating these deals. We can come up with such higher levels, you know, of negotiation. You know, we can structure all sorts of offers. You know, we can come up with rebuttals. We can make people give us non-refundable earnest money and credit that towards sellers to pay off, you know, their last month's payment on their mortgage. You know, to keep them in the deal. Like, we can think very differently than what maybe a seller or even a regular real estate agent would even consider. So that's honestly what we are getting paid for, right? We have the ability to negotiate these deals. We have the ability to understand what the seller is going through, their situation. And then if they get what they're looking for out of the deal, they don't care what you do with it as long as they get what they want. It's the same thing. Like, I thought about this the other day. How many of us have a car in the chat? There should be at least 3 or 4 of us that are going to type in the chat, I have a car in the chat. Or your family, somebody you know has a car, right? But regardless, when you need to change your oil, right, on that car, everybody's got to eventually change the oil because it's a necessity, right? Everybody's eventually going to need to sell their house, if they want to sell, right? But why is it that we go to Jiffy Lube to change our oil when we could be doing it ourselves, right? And we pay $200, $300, $400, maybe $500, $1,000 for somebody to just go unscrew something at the bottom of the car, let the oil drop out to the pan and put some fresh oil in it, maybe change the filter. Like, you could watch a YouTube video and this process maybe takes like 10 minutes, right? But we don't want to do it. We don't want to get under the car. They don't want to negotiate. They don't want to go through that, right? They don't feel qualified to do it. People don't feel qualified to change their own oil. That's why they go to Jiffy Lube and pay all that money so somebody else can do it for them, right? And so you don't care how long it took the mechanic, right? Because that mechanic could go 5 minutes. He's in and out. Boom, your oil is changed. But he just charged you a couple $100, maybe $1,000. I don't know what an oil change runs you, depending on the type of car, right? But maybe you're paying a couple $100, and that guy could pull it off in 5 minutes. Now, if you apply that same logic to what we're doing here, they just want that convenience. They want to feel like they can go to the Jiffy Lube and just get their house sold. They don't want to work, with an agent for whatever reason they come up with. They just decided that they want to work with an investor. They want to work with you, and you got to be able to accept that, and you got to be able to perform, right? And so that's kind of what has helped me wrap my head around why is it that people elect to go the novation route, especially if we're not really putting any money into the property to get it sold. But we are the experts, so we have to act accordingly, and we really need to be the experts, especially when we're on the phone with these people. We can't just be anybody hopping on the phone and just trying to feel like we're snaking these people in any sort of way, because that's not how we do business. We're professionals, so we got to know exactly what we're offering to this individual, that it is a convenience, right? We're offering them that convenience, and we have to be able to perform and follow through on that. So I just figured that I'd share that. I know that a lot of the time there are people in here that have a lot of questions about novations and why would people even decide to go the novation route versus working with an agent. Why do people sell off market to wholesalers when they could, skip trace buyers and find, they could do our job, but they just don't know how and they don't care to learn. They just want it done. So just keep that in mind the next time you're on a phone call. Don't try to overthink it. Just present it in a way that it's digestible for them, and shoot your shot. You can't miss the shot. You can't make the shot you don't take. All right, so take more shots, man. You're gonna get a couple of them to swish, and then you're gonna get real good. You'll be shooting all the time.
You just gave me our next LLC's name, Jiffy Investors. That's what we're gonna go with.
I love it.
Also, quick question. So, I know that sometimes I've just through the experience and what I've learned, also they kind of suggest sometimes as much as we're looking for the ARV, also we still want to look at some of the as is comps. And I sent the one in the chat. This one's 795 Brittany Court. It's not too far from the property, and it's sold as is. And that one sold for 180. So I'm thinking like, I know as much as our ARVs around that 250, 260, is looking at the as is sold comps as well an effective method to also help us come up with our cash offer?
Yeah.
If there's any.
I was going to say, I'm not sure what Adam would respond to this one, but I would say, I mean, do we know who the buyer was? Was it like an end buyer who is like able to pay more than an investor who needs to turn a profit, or?
Okay, yeah, that's a good question. I believe it was bought by a I think it was a regular. It wasn't a retail buyer.
Okay. Well, it's always tricky. I mean, it could someone who's just fixing it up and keeps it in his portfolio and doesn't need to like has the cost basically of flipping a property.
Right.
A lot of the times, or not a lot of times, I have definitely a lot of my time just called the agent that sold that property
Mhm.
or bought that property, I guess, and see if they're looking to purchase more like it.
Right. Okay. Okay.
So
Yeah.
you also brought up another good point, big play. And I'm sorry, Simon, I don't know if you looked at the pendings or the actives as well for this particular property or not. But we
There's
like to
actually
also.
a pending right now.
There you go. 770 Brittany. So very close to the one you just brought up, big play.
Yeah, I didn't even see that one, but yeah. Okay.
So we want to take a look at the pendings to see what's going into under contract, okay? And then the actives show us who's our competition. What are we going up against? And so looking at it from a buyer's perspective, if I'm an end buyer, okay, and I have choices and options, which house am I going to take? All things being equal, I'll probably buy the one that's, priced lower. Okay. So if my property, the one that I want to sell, whether it's through novation or fix and flip or wholesale, it's going to be less than whatever is available on market. Okay. And it's in kind of sort of the same condition. Guess what? My house is going to get sold first. So you want to take a look at the actives as well as the pendings as well.
Awesome. I appreciate that so much. I appreciate it.
You got it. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it is 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time, 4:30 p.m. my time. We've been here for an hour and a half, 90 minutes. I hope this was valuable for you guys. We are going to hold this every Tuesday so long as you good folks show up. So long as you guys come here with, wanting to learn, bringing in leads of your own, and we'll be more than happy to, explain to you what our thought process is and how we do things. Okay? So I hope everyone has a great rest of your evening, and we will see you all next week. Thanks again, everyone.
Thank you, Bob.
Thanks, John.
Ladies and gentlemen, always such a wealth of knowledge tapping in. I'm so grateful to be a part of this community. Guys, if you haven't already, make sure that you subscribe to the YouTube channel. You'll be able to catch the replay of not only this call, but all the other masterminds and tutorials and live calls that we've hosted here absolutely for free. I promise you, this is the #1 most valuable real estate community in existence. There is nobody else doing it quite like this, especially for free. If you haven't already, you got to invite somebody you think would benefit from being in proximity with us. Send them that link to reirev.com or tell them to join us on Discord at discord.gg/reirev. We'll catch you back here tomorrow morning. Take care. Bye-bye.